Right, I got a beer from Verdant Brewing Company, very famous brewery in the UK, most famous for their hazy beers. But right now I've got a lager from Verdant, so very interesting. Have a look, it's called Hoppy Pills. It is stacked with New Zealand hops, so we're not talking about a Czech or a German Pilsner, we're talking about a New Zealand Pilsner. On the front, I see that it's a partnership with Mac Hops, 125th year anniversary, I guess, coming in at 4.8%. On the hot side, we've got Nelson Sauvin, Motueka, and Riroka. And on the cold side, exactly the same. These are all New Zealand hops. They're all the big craze over the past, several years or so, or even longer now. Um, Nelson Sauvin is famous for its kind of Sauvignon Blanc wine kind of flavors. Motueka is a little bit tropical, and Riwaka is like a SARS generation. It also add a lot of kind of tropical flavor. So very interesting. I think that might hit a lot of kind of citrus and grapefruit. Motueka similar kind of citric. So this is going to be a very interesting pilsner. Not sure what combination they've got in terms of what's bittering and what's not, but yeah, could be a kind of white winey, dry, tropical, fruity kind of lager. Absolutely no idea. It's Verdant, so they're going to nail that fruitiness for sure. Let's crack it open and see what Verdant does on a bloody lager, eh? All right, first up, you can see it's fairly hazy. I imagine that's because it's been dry hopped, and it's quite light, kind of straw color. Not the densest of foam on top, but decent white, kind of brilliant white foam. It's going quite quickly, but it's a dry hop beer. I'm not sure. I think it's got anything in it that's unusual for a lager. It is no barley, hops, yeast, so no wheat, no oats, no nothing like they usually have in their hazy beers. So this is most likely hazy from the dry hopping. Let's give it a sniff. Yeah, okay, that's interesting. It smells. You can definitely get that kind of wine, kind of white wine smell from the Nelson, and then there's a kind of lychee, tropical, citrus aroma coming off it as well. Maybe a hint of kind of like pomegranate or something like that. That kind of range of New Zealand's kind of tropical hops is that's what it's giving it. Maybe could even be kind of like gooseberry or something. That maybe that's from the Nelson Sauvignon or Nelson Sauvin. I always feel like a twat saying Nelson Sauvin because I'm just like I feel like one of those guys ordering French wines in a restaurant or something. Anyway, um, yeah, very interesting. This is a New Zealand hoppy pilsner, uh, an absolute bastardization of the great European tradition of Lucknow. Who cares, mate? I was saying this about Utopian in England. You take your elite German lager styles and you apply English ingredients to it, and it's different, but it's something new, and I like it. And that's exactly what New Zealand have done with their kind of New Zealand hoppy pills. So I'm all for it. And Verdant have made their own version of a New Zealand hoppy pill. So there you go. Let's see what it drinks like. Whoa, yeah, that's quite surprising actually. It's got a really kind of sharp taste on it. Immediately, I think it'll mellow out once I've got used to it. I just wasn't expecting it. It's a bit more bitter, and like that kind of citric kind of bitterness going on. So it really kind of lines the back of your tongue and mouth with that hit of bitterness that you're getting from it. Yeah, there's a decent level of carbonation there, and that's mixing really with that kind of big citric kind of acids, tanginess that's going on with this beer. The malt side is really light. Excuse my glycol chiller has just kicked in, but hopefully the lapel mic doesn't pick it up so much. Yeah, this is um, a bomb of kind of, I want to say, it's almost like um, that tang and slight astringency you get from like a gooseberry or something like that. That's what's going on in this beer. Um, yeah, it's really kind of giving me white wine vibes, like very interesting, very interesting. You know how like a German Pilsner keeps you coming back for a sip after a sip because it has that snap. This is bringing me back sip after sip because of this very kind of citric and also white winey kind of tanginess to it that it has, and it's fairly kind of biting on the tongue, and it's making me want to sip again and again, a little bit like a sour sweet does. So in that sense of it being like a pilsner, similar like a German Pilsner is like a repeat sipper. This is achieving that, but for a slightly different reason. I think the Nelson Sauvin is really playing its role in this beer, and the other two hops are, yeah, they're bringing that kind of citrus flavor, and then the Nelson is really kind of drying it out and bringing that kind of, I want to say like uh, gooseberry, lychee, white winey kind of flavor, and that's kind of pairing together, and it's drinking really almost like a fizzy wine or something. It's quite interesting, and it's growing on me as it's going down the glass. That first sip I took was a bit of a shock, um, but as it's going down the glass, it is growing on me. I can see why this is a thing. Like a New Zealand Pilsner is a thing. New Zealand hops are really, they can be really quite different to what you're used to with those American hops. You know, your classic Citras, Cascades, um, all that kind of thing, and also different to the likes of Galaxy from Australia. Those are super juicy tropical hops, and New Zealand can come with that kind of tropical flavor, but it's slightly different. It's not like your big kind of mango juice or whatever. It is your sharper citric, or you're looking at like pomegranate, gooseberry, that kind of thing. It's a slightly sharper kind of tropical flavor, and it works really well in something like a hoppy lager for sure, because you're, like you said, you're getting that kind of snappiness that you would expect from using like a German noble hop or from SARS, um, in the beer, because some of these hops are derivatives, or they are descendants from SARS, and so you're getting that kind of uh, fruity snappiness that you would get from SARS or from a German noble hop, but it's bringing these kind of interesting tropical flavors, and then also Nelson is giving you that kind of Sauvignon Blanc flavor. So yeah, that's a very interesting beer. Yeah, and I think as it's warmed up in my hand and it's breathed a little bit, I'm talking like it's a wine now. I've let it breathe, like it's aerated a little bit. Um, that initial kind of bite that I got in the first sip is not there anymore. And it's kind of blending together a lot better. So yeah, man, this has grown on me as it's gone down the glass. I think my first reaction was like, damn, that's a bit overwhelming. Um, but no, not bad. I would drink again. I'm not going to write home about it, but I would drink it again. And it's interesting to see an all New Zealand hopped beer. I mean, you usually get them in, you get them in the kind of hazy category. This is allowing them to perform even more because you're getting their bitterness and you're getting their kind of flavor and you're getting their oils from the dry hop. So you're getting the full range in this beer because it's a pilsner. So it's not in a hazy. It's all late additions or even just whirlpool and dry hop. So the bitterness is very different that you're getting in that. It can still taste bitter, but it is not a long boil bitterness, which is different. Whereas in this, I imagine there is some kind of hot side. I don't know if it's from 60 minutes. It's Verdant. I don't know. Maybe they're adding it, with 10, 15 minutes to go. You can still get a decent amount of bitterness, but it is interesting to get those New Zealand hops giving that bitterness as well as, being used for the, late addition and cold side dry hopping. So yeah, well worth a try if you're into your hops, and especially if you like New Zealand hops. A hoppy New Zealand Pilsner, worth a try. All right, if the challenge was to get as close to a sour beer without actually using like sour yeast or bacteria, farmhouse saison style or whatever, this is as close as you're gonna get. Like this is your New Zealand hops. It's a hoppy pilsner, and because of the citric bite from Motueka and Riwaka, the combination is this kind of almost sour-esque kind of beer, but it's not. It's right on the edge. It's kind of tangy. It is this citric and then kind of tropical tanginess together, mixed together into a kind of like white winey kind of vibe in this lager, that you would win that challenge if the challenge was make a sour beer without any kind of sour bacteria. Um, and that's fine, man. I wouldn't drink this all the time. It wouldn't be my go-to lager, but it is another beer that on a hot summer's day would be very thirst quenching. That kind of gooseberry, lychee, almost astringency is really kind of thirst quenching on a hot day. In the same way as drinking, I don't know, like a really nice cider or something. That's what this is giving me. And I would happily drink this on a hot day in the summer. It's -1 outside, so I'm not sure why I'm drinking this. I think it's because the best before date is coming up in a couple of weeks. So I needed to get it out of the way. So yeah, so Verdant Hoppy Pills collaboration with Mac Hops does exactly what it says on the tin, mate. It is a bunch of New Zealand hops doing what New Zealand hops do, and that is tropical, citric, white wine, bit of tang, bit of a shock at the beginning, melded together because Verdant know what they're doing, and if you let it warm up in your hand, it'll blend together into this beautiful kind of experience. It's not a sour, but it's almost a bloody sour, I'd say. And they are really kind of unusual hops to drink when you're used to your big juice bombs from America or Australia. And something slightly different. And I do like something slightly different because I'm a little bit different at times, to be honest, with my weird brain that I've got going on. So, yeah, man, Verdant Hoppy Pills, give it a go.